friend Jim Jordan from the great state of Ohio. Work requirements. Work requirements, Jim. You know, I don't know, the kids don't want to work. They'd rather go on the government dole. The reality is, if they go back to work, they'll have a future. If they stay on the dole, they won't have a future. What you think about all that?
No, I thought your riff or your monologue was tremendous.
Thank you.
Requirements for able-bodied adults are good for 3 reasons. First, they treat taxpayers with respect, the people who are paying for these public benefits. Second, it's good for our economy. We need workers. We need people to, we need our economy to grow. You want people in the workforce. Third, to your point, it's most important for the individual who goes to work. St. Paul was a tent maker. He was doing 2 jobs. He was doing his missionary work, and he was also doing manual building tents, but he was doing work. It is good for people. We all know you go on vacation for 3 days. 3rd day, I'm going nuts. I got to get back to work. It is good for you to do that. And that is something that we're robbing people of if you just keep giving handouts. So I strongly support this concept of work requirements. It's where you learn to interact with people. It's where you learn business skills. It's where you just learn to work hard. It is so critical. We got to get it back in our culture in the right way, and this is the right way.
You know, when I was in government, every quarter or something, every few months, I'd address all the White House interns, and the whole talk I gave them was about work. And I would say to them, you know, you got to work hard, but when you think you're working harder, you have to work harder still. And then when you think you've reached your limit, that's when you have to push it even more in order to succeed. But this kind of work, this is good for families, it's good for marriages, it's good for communities, and of course it's good for our futures. I mean, you got to learn good habits. Work is all about learning good habits, Jim Jordan.
Yeah, it sure is. I spoke to a group of young people yesterday, and I said the same kind of message. I said, hard work doesn't guarantee success, but it sure improves your chances.
Right.
It is the key. Working hard. If you want to accomplish a worthy goal, a worthy dream, some objective, you got to work hard. And that's, I think, and as you point out, in some ways we're robbing people when we don't. And the skill set you get, my brother and I, we mowed country lawns. I remember. And when you'd mow and you would learn to you work hard, and you had to keep a little book, who paid, what day you wanted to do it. But mostly you learn to interact with people. And I can still remember these two ladies who never married, these 2 sisters who mowed their lawn. And you would get there and you go up and talk to them first before you started mowing. And when you visited with them, about the time you're finishing up, you could smell the chocolate chip cookies they were baking for you. I mean, you learn those personal skills that are so important in life. But you get robbed of that if you don't work.
You know, dare I say it, but hard work on the job will teach you more about jobs than going to at least some colleges for 4 years. All right, I don't know whether I want to generalize too much. I know you're a college wrestling champ, and God bless you for that. But some of these Eastern schools, Jim Jordan, I'd rather those kids are out in the real world working hard, learning some skills. You know, I don't want to take it too far, but I've always believed that. Anyway, please,
right.
You go ahead.
Instead of spending, $150,000 to get a philosophy degree, a lot of people I think are figuring out, I'll go learn to weld, I'll go learn to be a plumber, I'll go learn a skill set, and then go work hard and make a lot more money as a result.
Yeah, even the philosophy of work, they don't even teach that. Anyway, Jim Jordan, how about the philosophy of reconciliation? How's that looking? I mean, Jason Smith was on the show last night.
Yeah.
He spoke very well. I think he's worked miracles to get a good bill. It may not be everything, but it sure is solid tax cuts across the board, individuals, businesses, factories, overtime, tips, seniors. I mean, it seems good. Now, you know, A, what do you think about that? And B, how about the final push, push?
No, I think you're right. I think it's good legislation, and I think we get it done because one of the fundamental principles of our party, and this is you, I mean, you've been a part of this from the get-go. One of the fundamental principles of our party is we're not for raising taxes on the hardworking families of this great country. If we don't get this bill done, taxes go up on the hardworking families of this country. So we believe in a simple concept as Republicans. Let moms and dads keep more of their money to spend on their goals and their dreams and their kids. That's what we believe in. And let the businesses that employ those moms and dads, let them have the kind of tax system that allows them to flourish and grow and compete and win. That's what this bill's going to do. That's why I think in the end, Republicans support this. We get this over to the Senate. Then we get it finally to the president's desk.
You know, it's funny. We were just talking about President Trump calculating that he's got $10 trillion from investors to come into the USA, and he may have picked up $1.5 trillion in this Middle Eastern trip where he has conducted himself so well, at least in my view. This bill has powerful incentives for business. Not only does it restore the 100% immediate depreciation schedules, right? But also, what Jason Smith told me last night, for factories, you'll get full expensing inside of 4 years. All right. Usually, it used to take 25 or 30 years to run the expensing out. And after all the deductions and so forth, the effective tax rate, corporate tax rate, will drop to 15% for Made in America. Now, I would have preferred a clean 15% tax rate, but the way he worked it, he's got a deduction. And he's also got the small business deduction, Jim, if I'm not mistaken, goes from 20% to 23%. Now, my point is, those are powerful incentives to put all this new investment to work. I mean, that's got a home run over it.
Yeah, because all that new investment means infrastructure, construction, jobs, opportunity, and then you want a tax code that fits all that. That's what we're creating here. That's what President Trump is creating, I should say. That is exactly what you need to see our economy just start earning and turning and burning, which is exactly what we want.
All right, terrific stuff. Jim Jordan, hard worker, Jim Jordan, known you so long. Thank you very much.